Here are the solutions and grading for Pre-Calculus Chapter 6 quiz, and it goes like this. Problem number 1 for 5 points is a triangle ABC with B equals 31 degrees. Side B is 11 and side C is 13 degrees. First thing is a sketch. The instructions say that you have to do a reasonable sketch for each problem. So I'm going to do mine this way. Label it angle B. The side opposite B is 11. I'm going to put angle A here and angle C there. You could do it the other way if you want to, which means that the side adjacent to B is 13 units. So that's the first point, is to have some sketch about like that. Then the next step is to calculate H, which is the adjacent side times the sine of the angle that we have, which is 31 degrees, which is 13 sine 31 is equal to 6.7. Okay, so that's the next 2 points. Again, 1 point for the sketch, 2 points for calculating H correctly. And then the next part of this question, we just need to look at our conditions to determine how many solutions we have. So the first one we look at is the opposite less than H? Well, no, because 11 is not less than 6.7. Is the opposite equal to H? Well, no, because 11 is not equal to 6.7. And then we next look to see, is opposite greater than adjacent? And 11 is not greater than 13. Then we look to see, is H less than opposite, which is less than adjacent? And there we have 6.7 is less than 11 is less than 13. And the answer to that is yes, so we have 2 solutions. And that's worth the final 2 points for this part. Part B of this problem is worth 20 points and requires that we find the 2 solutions. So we know that we have angle B, side B, and side C. So let's go ahead and find angle C, or at least the first one. So we start with sine C over C is sine B over B. We can rewrite that as sine C is sine B times C over B. And that says sine of C is sine of 31 times 13 over 11 is 0.609. Don't round that to 0.6. Sine is really sensitive to rounding, so use the full precision that your calculator gives you to do your inverse sine. So C is the sine inverse of 0.609, which is equal to 37.5 degrees. And it is okay to go ahead and round that from 37.49 to 37.5. That'll be just fine. Okay, so getting to there is 8 points. Then we can find, that's by the way, the first angle. We can find C2 as 180 minus 37.5 is 142.5. That's 2 points. What we did there was found the second angle on our unit circle that has a sine of 0.6. The first one's here, the second one's there, which is 142.5. So let's see. Now we have C1 and C2. We can go ahead and find the A angles. So A1 is just 180 minus 31, which is B, minus 37.5, which is C1. That makes it 111.5 degrees, and that's 2 points. A2 is 180 minus 31 minus 142.5, and that's 6.5 degrees, which is another 2 points. And that leaves just the sides A to solve for. So we're back to law of sines for that. Have A over sine A is B over sine B. So A is B sine A over sine B. So that says A is 11 sine of 111.5 over sine of 31 is 19.87. Okay, that's the first A. And then to find A2, it's the same process. A over sine A is B over sine B. So A2 is B sine A2 over sine B is 11 times the sine of 6.5 over sine of 31 is 2.42. So now we have everything for this triangle. A1 is 111.5 and A2 is 6.5. A1 is 19.87 and side A2 is 2.42. B is 31, side B is 11, C1 is 37.5, C2 is 142.5, and side C is 13. Those were given, and we found the A's, the C's, and the sides A. So problem number 2 for 10 points is a triangle ABC where A is 65 degrees, B is 5, C is 2. First point is for a sketch, so I would do that like this. Angle A is 65. Let's call this angle B and angle C. You can do it the opposite way if you like. Then that means this is 5 and this is 2. So that's 1 point. The next 5 points is to recall that area is 1/2 B, C, sine A. Now plug in the numbers. 1/2, 5, 2, sine 65 is equal to 4.53, and that's the last 4 points for that problem. So for problem 3, for 15 points, we have this word problem of a Coast Guard station, 2 Coast Guard stations located 75 miles apart on a north to south line. And it says each one of them receives a radio signal from a ship at sea from the northernmost station. So this one, the ship's bearing is south 65 east, so that says you point south and then go east 65 degrees, and the ship is on that bearing somewhere. Then from the southernmost station, the ship's bearing is north 20 degrees east, so you point north and go 20 degrees east, and that says that the ship is right there. That looks like a ship. Okay, so this angle is 65 degrees. This angle is 20.2 degrees. That means we can find this angle is 180 minus 65 minus 20.2 is 94.8. So for this problem, the sketch is 2 points, and calculating this is 5. Okay. Now, if you drew these angles wrong, misinterpreted the bearings, then if you did the rest of the trig right, you still got most of the points. So let's see how the rest of the calculation goes. Now, we're interested in the distance to the northernmost Coast Guard station. So that's this angle. If we let this be A, and this be B, and this be C, then we're looking for small b. So small b will be side C times sine of B over sine of C is equal to 75 sine of 20.2 over sine 94.8, and that works out to 25.99 or 26 miles, and that's the final 8 points for this project.